Hey everyone, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm excited. Today is day 2 of our reset, our nutrition reset, and I hope all of you are feeling well. If you're having some issues like your detox, you're feeling a real detox, especially if you've taken a lot of caffeine, my recommendation would be lots of water to flush that junk out so that you feel better. Get some fresh air if you can. Do some deep breathing and more water. That is my recommendation to you. So we're on day 2, and I'm doing so far so good. I actually went to bed early last night, and I was able to, I think I almost kind of slept through the night, which is very rare for me lately. So that was good. I wasn't hungry, and I tried not to eat too late. I had a busy day yesterday. So, I mean, I did have my soup, and I did have it about 8:30, which is late, but it was only soup too. It's not like I had bread and stuff. So that's where we are with that. We have our special guest back, Teresa Martini, and she is going to get right to the crux of things today. And she's going to talk more about our emotions and how they tend to mess us up in our joints and muscles and things of that nature. So, hit it.
Okay. Good afternoon. It's nice to see everybody here. Good to see you, Britt. I'm glad to be here. I wanted to start with the mid back.
Oh, good.
Okay, so um, that a lot of people can have trouble in their middle back. I know we talked about the upper back, but if we don't have a strong core, we talked about the core yesterday.
Yes.
Um, if we do not have a strong core, then now we're getting into where the middle back is kind of not stabilizing correctly. We're not able to stabilize. And I would say, as far as that, emotion for the mid back would be stability. I
Oh.
would say a good portion, and that kind of going from the back all the way down to the lower, but let's start with the middle.
Mhm.
And people will say, it's just right in there. Yeah, when I'm massaging, it's just right in there. And that can go all the way around from your mid back all the way into the front and can feel like a chronic ache a lot of
Mhm.
times. And that's an inflamed muscle, which trigger point also, I don't know if I've discussed it, but a trigger point, and it can be referred pain. That's another thing. We can have referred pain. It can be from something going on, believe it or not, in let's say take our right side, and let's say that we have something going on in our ankle
Mhm.
or something going where we injured our foot or we injured our ankle. Well, think about that all the way up, that stability from the foot up. So it can go all the way up, and you could have pain in the middle back and forget that you even had an injury to that ankle
Oh, that's
or that or
interesting.
your knee. And it'll be a referred pain, but it can be actually coming from your ankle or your knee. I mean, I have found that. So that's just, body mechanics.
Right.
Um, some of the stretches you can do is some we did yesterday, actually, where I did the arm over and we kind of stretched,
Mhm.
you know. Um, you want to be careful. You want to strengthen. What I have found now, I live in the sunny, you know,
I
sunny part
know.
of the country.
Don't brag because we had snow yesterday, so don't
Uh-oh, I'm
brag.
sorry. Well, I'm not able to go in the water. It's too cold right now for me, but there are things that you can do even if you're inside. You can get one of the big balls,
Mhm.
the big
Yeah,
not a
the
medicine
exercise
ball,
balls.
the exercise ball, right? And what you want to do is you want to strengthen your core. So you want to sit, if you have trouble, balancing, you can kind of hold on to something on the side, but you want to begin to balance because you've got these little tiny muscles that run down the spine. They're called the multifidi, and they
Mhm.
are very, very tiny, but they're incorporated in our core and stability for our spine and our back. And I mean, I'll find the right size beach ball,
Right.
and I will sit in the pool and balance sitting
Oh.
on the beach ball in the water.
Wow.
And
Okay, I would be under the water.
it's got to notice I said it's got to be the right size
Right size,
beachball.
yes,
It's got
yes.
if it's too big, forget it. I'm all over the place. But
Yeah.
that's something, if you're in an area where where you can be in the water a lot,
Mhm.
that's something you can do. Anything to strengthen your middle back.
I'm laughing because I'm just picturing myself with my exercise ball in the bathtub trying to balance. Only me would
Oh
have that
gosh.
thought. Oh,
Oh, hold
yeah,
that thought. That's funny.
that is funny.
That is
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
Absolutely. But it
But
does.
you said something really interesting though. So the emotion of instability is actually what is associated with that middle back area.
Mhm.
And there are so many other emotions that cause us to feel that instability. And I think
Mhm.
that's what you know, people need to dive into. Why do I feel that way? What is
Mhm.
causing that? What is attached to
Right.
that instability that I'm feeling? Because it will show up in your body, as you said.
It will show up. It will show up. It will show up in, your lower back. Um, if we move on down to the lower back,
Hmm.
um, and hips and lower back, I see a lot of people with lower back issues. Uh, that and shoulder, I think, would be
The top
number
two, right?
top two, shoulders, neck, and lower back. Um, and again, I attribute that if you want to talk about the emotion or what's going on, instability, kind of like a um, not having support because
Ah,
that's just where we
unsupported.
felt unsupported,
Yes.
which can, l- settle down in that lower back. There are things, and you can go online and look because now these I
Sure.
would have to get on the floor and show you.
Yeah.
So I would encourage, which I'm not going to do. I'm a big believer in stretch, but do not go beyond your threshold.
Yes.
Be very careful because you're going to find a lot of things online that you could get injured, so you have to be
Yes.
really careful. I would encourage going to some kind of I'm trying to think because I look at a lot of things. You can go I'm trying to think of the gentleman that for stretches. I can't, it's evading me right now, but
You know
picture-
who's good for that? Her name is Doc Jen. And if you
okay.
look at Doc Jen on Instagram, or you just put in Doc Jen, she is phenomenal when it comes to really explaining the ins and outs and the stretching and
There
just
you go.
loosening up. And she's really amazing. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Because I can have clients come in all the time and massage, and loosen that up
Yeah.
and get that nice and, warmed up and loosened up and everything. And that's the other thing. When you go and get a massage and you're all loosey goosey, I
Hmm.
tell my clients, no gym, no exercise, no running, nothing for that day. Water,
Hmm.
water, water, and rest because everything is loose. And you could technically, not only tighten it back up, but injure yourself. I don't think people realize that especially after, I prefer medical massages and things like that. So,
Yes, I agree. So let me just clarify who I was talking about. So her name, you'll find her on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere. But if you just look up Doc Jen Fit, it's Doc Jen Fit.
okay.
Find her, and she's amazing.
Thank you. I will look her up now. I got a new one because I'm
Yeah.
all over the place looking at and everything. But I do encourage that. I encourage that there are things that you can do for your lower back
Mhm.
if you and like again, it's difficult to show if you're not,
Sure.
on the floor. But if you can picture yourself on a bed or on a massage, really on a massage table, and it's better to have assistance, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, for the lower back because it can be injured so easily, especially if you're having trouble with it. But there are ones where you can take your leg and you go over the one that is on the, the bed, the one that,
Right.
let's say your right side is bothering you, you would throw it over your left side and you're just stretching. But again, I believe in assisted stretching. If anybody can find a really good massage therapist that does assisted stretching,
Hmm.
you've found gold.
Yes, I agree with
You
you.
have found gold. Um, and then if we want to talk about, if you want me to move on, there's more with the lower
Yeah,
back. Um,
yeah. Whatever you feel you want to share.
okay. I'm just thinking that also it can, again, it can be on one side or the other.
Hmm.
Um, in Chinese medicine or in Chinese thought, a massage or whatever, they will tell you that the left side of the body is the emotional side. Well, think
Mm.
about it. The heart is on the
Yes.
left. So the left side is the emotional side. The right side is your systemic side. There's something going on in your body, there's something actually happening there. When it can be, also just, emotions too, but,
Hmm.
showing up. So find out, there's a little test you can do right between your large toe and your middle, I mean, and the toe right next to
Next
your
to it.
large toe, right? And then there's a little, if you picture this as your large toe and this is your one next to it, right in between is an area right in
Hmm.
here that you kind of just push on. And if it's really, really tender on the left side, you can just do it like a clockwise kind of pressure on it.
Right.
And I will do that with patients and just kind of touch point with that. And it can help release emotions, locked emotions that may be in
Interesting.
there.
That's interesting.
Right side, you can see, well, my right side is, well, what's going on? Did I get injured? Did I,
Hmm.
is there something going on, in my body that, um, that's indicating from that side. That's a little
Right.
aside for and I realize that's, over and beyond the lower back, but
It's okay.
those are little tests that I do.
The more
So.
information, the better.
And then if we go on to the stomach is, believe it or not, there are a lot of people that don't realize that you can, if of course, covered in Florida, in the state of Florida, it's always about covering, and you want to make sure that you have a massage therapist or whoever's doing body work on you is, keeping you safe and keeping you covered. But we can work on the stomach, and they're going to go clockwise on the stomach, because you can have a lot of bowel issues. You can have a IBS. You can actually have, there are muscles there, and of course you have all the organs,
Mhm.
especially on the right hand side, you have the gallbladder and the liver, and so that kind of work on the stomach we did do, and it is helpful for what I found is in soothing and calming down when
Interesting.
someone comes in and they're high anxiety, or they're, because normally, or there's things going on in their life and they're having trouble with their stomach, or they're having issues even in their back. Oh, so sorry.
That's okay.
Even in their back,
Yeah.
um they a lot of times it's coming from that, as again, as it would, Eastern medicine would say, the
Mhm.
hara, the center, our core. Um, and it could be like, wow, that just sickens me when somebody does something.
Mhm.
Wow, that just makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Well, where is that coming from? That's coming when we think of the stomach area, we think of our belly area, we think of that, and all of that. That can be something that we're holding in the very center of our body that we're not able to let go of.
Yeah.
And a lot of times through massage, people are released, and there are, there also, if a woman has had a cesarean,
Mhm.
you
That's
can work.
trauma. That's trauma
That's
to the
trauma. That's trauma. And like I said, you want to get a licensed massage therapist, one that you feel safe with, one that is um, trained in a medical massage, in a medical atmosphere, as far as like this kind of work. And they can work on that because that scar tissue
Yeah.
will go up, and those are all those abdominal muscles that have been cut,
Yeah. Wow.
you know.
Mhm.
So that needs a lot of work. That's scar tissue work, which is a whole
Another thing.
thing. But even if you think about scar tissue work, what's the scar work emotionally?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right,
100%. And a
right.
lot of people suffer from ulcers, and
Hmm.
they just think it's because maybe the way they're eating or whatever the case may be. But more than not, those ulcers are the actual result of an emotion that has been so buried that it has wreaked such havoc on your system that it's
Exactly,
manifested itself into that ulcer. So, I
exactly.
mean, you can get rid of the ulcer, you can take things for ulcers, but if you don't get down to the deep core issue of why it's there in the first place and what's causing it and get rid of that,
Hmm.
you're just going to have the same problem over and over again. And this is what we find in Western medicine all the time. They're
Right.
just, medicating us for, the pains or whatever the case. They're not looking to see what caused it in the first place.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So, yeah,
I agree.
that is
I
really
agree.
interesting.
And there again, exercises to strengthen your your stomach, your abdominal
Your
muscles.
abdominal muscles.
Squats, believe it or not,
Mhm.
can help
Yeah,
with the
because all of
abdominal
those
muscles
muscles
and how
are,
you hold yourself. And
yes,
that ball again.
yes, yeah, in the tub, yes.
In the tub, in the tub.
And also doing planks.
That's right. I forgot about, you're right, the plank.
Planking is, I don't do them enough, clearly. But
Right.
it's so important because it's not, people think I'm going to do sit ups and I'm going to do crunches and I'll do planks and then I'm going to get a six pack. But it's not about that at all because
Mm-mm,
when
mm-mm.
you have to hold your core tense like that for whatever amount of time, you're strengthening your lower back, your obliques, your
Correct.
abdominals. All of that is, if that's not strong, the rest of your body is really not strong.
That's correct.
It stems from there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm preaching to myself
Absolutely.
right now, for sure. Oh,
It's
Lord.
true. It's true. But no, you're right. It's all of those exercises. And again, like I said, I would demonstrate, but
Yeah, no, I understand.
we don't.
No,
YouTube it,
we're not in demonstration mode today. Sorry.
No,
Not
no,
for that.
not today.
Not today.
Yeah, not
Wow,
today.
that's powerful though. We have to look deeper than the symptoms.
We
We have
do
to
have to
look
look.
for we have to look for the cause.
That's right.
And looking for the cause, I'm just going to say it, looking for the cause can be difficult, it can be painful, um, but it's also freeing.
Mhm,
And that's the bottom line. You want to be free.
mhm.
So that means you have to put in the work. You have to do the work.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to
Yeah,
put in the work, and
you
it
have to
is
put in the
painful.
work.
And think about it when people will say, I thought about this when you were saying that, they need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet.
Mm,
Think about that statement. Need to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet.
2 feet. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to that. How do we stand
Hmm.
when we don't have the ability to hold ourselves up emotionally?
Ooh, that's
How do we
good.
stand?
Yeah, that's so good. Oh my
Right? How do
gosh.
we do that?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like you said, we have to start and we have to find the root cause. And I am a big believer, and I guess it's probably already coming out. I'm a big believer in Eastern medicine and,
Mm,
and Western medicine as well. It has its benefits,
it
absolutely.
does.
But I think hand in hand, I think people throw the baby out with the bathwash, so to speak,
Absolutely.
as they say.
Absolutely.
And they do talk about getting to the root core. They talk about what each organ is attached to emotionally,
Yeah,
you
we
know?
haven't even touched on any of that. That's a whole nother
Hmm.
challenge because that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that is very true. We're
Hmm.
having issues with our organs and we're, we're just thinking it's whatever the doctor has told us it is.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, it's not that. That's just a symptom. It's finally come to the surface, and that is the symptom. It's been there all along, simmering.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, it's true. And what do they call, somebody had said this, and I thought, wow, this is so true. Disease,
Mhm. Dis-ease.
dis-ease.
Yeah, dis-ease.
Dis-ease. What are you not at ease with?
With.
What is it? What is it? And a lot of it stems right from here. What are
Oh,
we thinking? What are we thinking? What's our
absolutely.
head chatter saying to us on a daily basis?
Yes. 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 Being in tune with our head chatter is
Mhm.
really something that we don't do. We don't do it well. We don't do it often enough. And the reason being is because um, we keep silencing our we silence the part of us that needs to speak with us, and we drown it out with all of this external noise.
Right.
That's why I'm a firm believer, especially if I know I'm going to take a really long car trip. The first maybe hour of that car trip, there's no noise. I mean, no radio. I don't even like the radio anyway, but no radio, no music, nothing. I am just quiet so I can hear my
Mhm.
what's going on in my mind. I
Mhm.
can hear what my body might be saying to me. I can hear what God is trying to tell me,
Exactly.
and it's just really important to make that time just to be quiet so you can hear, because sometimes your mind will be telling you stuff that is such a lie, and you have drowned out so much other stuff that you just automatically think that that really is your thought when it's not your thought, and oh, that's a whole nother subject. We could be on here for years at this point dealing with all of
Good.
these things.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
Did you want to speak to any of the, what we talked about with the emotional part of that? Or I know I
yeah.
did, we have been, but anything else that you wanted to bring out about that? Especially, I would say especially, I don't know why I'm being drawn to the lower back.
Mm.
That lower back. Um,
Because I would say 99% of adults suffer from some kind of lower back issue, number
mhm,
one,
mhm,
you know, and they don't pay attention. I mean, they pay attention to the pain, but it doesn't go any further than that. There's no, taking time out to sit with yourself and say, why am I having this pain? And to connect I always say this, connect the dots, ask the right questions. You will eventually get to the proper answer, and then you can start dealing with your issue. It doesn't work the other way around, just doesn't.
right,
It
right,
just absolutely doesn't.
right.
So we're going to jump into the next four trapped emotions that stop or hinder your diet and exercise. The next one is calf pain, and the trapped emotion that is attached to that is resentment. And I thought that was really interesting because I don't really ever remember having like calf pain. Even as a dancer, I don't remember having calf pain. But when you're bothered with a calf muscle pain, resentment could be the root cause. This is what scientists are telling us. If you've been spending a lot of time focusing on what others have, or why is life so good for so and so and mine is not so good, you're aligning with a vibration of lack, and you're just making it really harder for you to attract the abundance in your life that you need and want and deserve. So I would say the very first thing to do is to stop the minute that thought jumps into your mind and say, whoa, wait a minute. I have so many things that I am grateful for. And then you need to actually start saying what those things are. Because that puts out that part of the fire. But then you need to go back and you need to start thinking about, well, why am I so resentful of Sally because she got the promotion and I didn't? You need to, okay, yes, there could be office politics and there could be all of these other things. But why are you feeling resentment? What is it about that situation that reminds you or brought up something in you that made you feel that resentment? Because that just didn't come out of nowhere. It stems from something, whether it happened when you were a child or you witnessed a situation where there was resentment, or you heard in your household a lot of resentment from coming from your parents about your neighbors, or whatever the case may be. You need to find out where that comes from. And then you need to realize that that is not who you are. That is not who you want to be. And you need to start a practice of gratitude on a daily basis. And for some people, it may have to be an hourly basis, depending on how deep your resentment is. But the bottom line is, we keep saying this and we'll continue to say this, it comes from someplace else. It's not just because you're upset that Sally got the promotion and you did not. It goes way deeper than that. So now I was trying to understand why the resentment would like hide itself in our calf muscle. And obviously, I know our calves are important, for stability reasons. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe the resentment is there and it's because there is a lack of stability in some other area of your life, or you're feeling insecure about um, what you bring to the table. Okay, if we're referring to this job situation, maybe that's what it is. You feel like, yeah, I should have gotten that promotion, but then you have in the back this thought in the back of your mind, yeah, but could I have really done the job? Would I fail at it? Would I be good at it? So there's self-doubt, there's all of these other emotions that create this resentment towards somebody who, you know had there's no reason for you to resent them. So I guess we need to probably be more aware of our body parts, because I would have never thought that resentment and calf pain would be synonymous. And clearly that they are. And I guess it's good that I've never really suffered from that because I think life must be miserable if you're always walking around being resentful of everybody and everything. It must be horrific. I
Well,
mean,
that's funny. I'm
what
sorry.
a joyless life that is.
I wanted
Yes,
to interject if
please.
that's okay.
Yes,
When you were
absolutely.
talking about walking around, that is the one thing that came to mind was they're instrumental in your walking,
Mhm.
in your movement and your motion forward or motion back.
Yes.
Well, are you resenting the walk that you're walking at this
Ooh,
time? Are
ooh.
you resenting that somebody led you somewhere that you didn't want to go emotionally, physically?
Oh, oh,
So yeah,
wow, that is deep. Oh my
yeah.
goodness, you just said a whole mouthful there. Whoa, yes.
Mhm,
Thought
mhm.
of that.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's good. That is good. I love this. I love,
yeah.
love, love this. Okay, so I hate to leave there, but we're gonna go next to elbow pain. Now, I have had severe elbow pain due to, or maybe a symptom of, RA, right? Rheumatoid arthritis. But as I was studying elbow pain, the trapped emotion that correlates with it is fear. That is just there's just so much to unpack there. So when your elbow is aching, you may be actively resisting changes coming into your life. Like, are you going through a period of transition and finding it unnervingly unfamiliar or even downright scary? So the goal is to try to remember that with change comes growth and a chance for new opportunities. The universe only brings us change when we're ready to receive it. And oftentimes we fight it. We fight the change because it's unfamiliar. So I am trying to go back to remember when the pain in my elbow started to where it became almost unbearable. And I'm I want to say that it might have something to do with my son being at college and all of the changes that that had. I was in a new job and that was all really unfamiliar territory for me since I had not gone out to work for somebody else in probably 10, 12 years. That was all unfamiliar. I was dealing with a coworker who was the witch from the Wicked West. And so there was all of that stress and fear of, is she going to say something that's going to cause me to lose this job, which I need because my son's in college, and, you know, other income that I had at the time I had lost. And so there's a lot of fear connected with all of those situations. And I believe that they settled in my elbow for sure. Yes, was RA part of it? Absolutely. But which was the trigger to the RA? Was it the fear? Was it the fact that I was bit by a tick and, that wasn't really discovered until I was already, having really bad symptoms? A whole host of different things it could be. But fear, definitely. And so whenever I do start to get pain in my elbow, I automatically, the first thought is, oh, did I do something or did I trigger something with the RA? And then if I'm thinking and I realize that, yeah, I did, then I know that's exactly what it is. Maybe I was mowing the lawn or I was doing too much lawn work or whatever the case may be. Then, okay, I was overworking it. So that's why there's pain. But other times that's not the case. And so then I really have to stop and think, what's going on around me right now? And it may not even be my fear. It might be fear that I'm holding for my child or a family member or a situation I heard on the news. So you really have to dig deep and ask the questions because, like I told you, emotions travel together. So it's not just fear and then that's it. There's something else attached to that fear, and you have to find out what that might be. So elbow pain. And so here's another thing. Why would it be our elbow that we feel the the fear settles in our elbow? What is it about life in general that we use our arm, okay, in order to do anything that we do with our arm? We're constantly moving and flexing. We need this mobility. So when we say the word mobility, you're changing positions, right? You're changing positions. And once again, that fear of the unknown, that's probably a really good reason why we feel it in our elbow. What do you think, Teresa?
I think that is excellent. I wanted to interject. I'm glad you offered the opportunity because
Yes.
that is just rich. That is so true. That mobility. Are we mobile? Because there's a term that we like to use, especially with frozen shoulder, because when we get hurt or injured, our first instant thought is to hold it,
Yes.
not let go. We don't want to let go, right? But
Mm-hmm.
especially in the shoulder, area, and because that is a synovial joint, which that's a whole nother thing, and it flows with synovial fluid that keeps it, lubricated.
Lubricated.
So I used to tell clients, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Mhm.
So mobile, we're losing that ability to let go, to
Yes.
let God. When we have it like this, we're holding on to ourself. We're
Mhm.
holding on to things, or carrying, if you think of it this way, carrying a burden that's way too heavy for us,
Yes.
and we just need to let go.
Go.
Oh, that's,
That's good. That's really good.
yeah.
Okay, so now this next one is one that I know the majority of adults have dealt with at some point in their life, and that's foot pain. And even if you may not recognize that you've had foot pain, I'll tell you the trapped emotion it's attached to, and then you tell me if you have ever suffered this in some way and didn't realize this is what it was. Depression. The trapped emotion of depression seems to settle in our foot. So the feet are associated with mood. So a sore foot could mean that you're depressed, have or are negative at the moment. Um, Try to work out what's making you feel that way and figure out whether you actually are absorbing negative energy from other people. Interesting. Bottom line is, when you are depressed and down, you do not feel motivated to work out, to eat properly, to basically do anything. You don't want to do anything. Even sleeping sometimes is so much of a chore. And you feel like, if I could just rest, if I could just sleep, I'll feel better. But it won't ease a troubled soul. Sleep is not going to do that. All it's going to do is mask what's going on, because when you wake up, that stuff is still going to be there. So you have to deal with it. So our feet carry us everywhere. Our feet are our mobility. If we don't have our feet, we're not going anywhere at all. Um, the association with foot pain and our moods, I think, I think um, this is the key that we're missing with this. When Notice something, when little children are little, haha. Okay, so when little people are, running around and playing, the majority of the time they're barefoot. Okay, there is sensory perception in the feet. Their feet are growing the way they should be. They're not being bound. When we put shoes on our feet, we are binding not just our foot, but the expression of who we are. And when you cannot express who you are, it depresses you. Little children running around barefoot, they're laughing and they're just carefree, and we lose that carefreeness, right? When you are finally at the age where somebody says you have to put shoes on, you can't walk around and run around barefoot anymore. And we associate having to put on shoes with having to do stuff that other people tell us we have to do. And therefore, that kind of changes who we are. Because maybe I remember my mother telling me I would always be walking around barefoot. And I think I shared this before. Stop walking around barefoot. You're going to get arthritis. Stop walking around barefoot. It's not good for you. You're going to get arthritis. What she didn't realize, and what a lot of people don't realize, is that being barefoot, number one, is probably one of the best things that you can do for your body. Because when you're barefoot on the ground outside, you are actually grounding yourself. And with all of the technology and radio waves that we have going on now, if you are not practicing grounding and breaking up all of that radioactive stuff that's going on, um, you are really doing harm to your circuitry in your own body. in such a massive way. And when we are overloaded with all of this radioactive nonsense that's going on around us, even though we need our technology or we think we need our technology, it just brings you down. It really does. And I've noticed this, like sometimes at night, I know I should have a shut off time. And sometimes I'm on my computer still or on my iPad. And I actually can feel this like this weight on me. And I just want to, it almost to the point where I just want to scream because it's just like, ugh, ugh, what is that? And I shut everything off and, let my body relax. And our technology is toxic to us. It really, really is. And we get all of our energy and nutrients, they come from the ground that we walk on. If we're walking in shoes all the time, we, first of all, are changing the structure of our foot, which is going to cause foot pain because our feet were meant to be a certain way. And when we're putting our feet into, really stylish, cool shoes, but they're not doing our feet any good. They really aren't. Um, we're keeping ourselves from receiving from the ground that God created Adam out of that ground. So can it be all that bad? No, it's something life giving. He created life out of the ground, what we walk on. And if we're barefoot, we can receive that life through us to help clean up all the garbage that's coming down from, you know, on us. Um, so if you're feeling foot pain, it's because I feel the reason you're depressed is because you're not being authentic. Your authenticity is definitely attached to how grounded you are. And if we're going to be really truly grounded, then we have to take off the encumbrances, whether that's shoes in the tangible sense, or what else are we encumbering in ourselves that we need to get rid of to lift that depression from us. So
That's
Teresa,
good.
I'm going to throw that
That's
out.
good. Oh, that's good. That's really good. I like, yeah. You just said it all right there in a nutshell.
Oh,
Seriously, that it's difficult to even add anything to that because it was just perfect explanation of what's going on. Um, Myself, just like you as a child, barefoot, and I
yeah.
still am barefoot. I will walk. We have like we call it a lake. It's a pond. It's a
Hmm.
retention pond, that I'll walk the dog around. And my husband and my kids are like, why are you barefoot? I'm walking the dog barefoot, but you could step on something. Okay. But I
Right.
walk barefoot. I walk, if I could, I walk, I'm
Yes.
barefoot all the time.
Yeah.
And I do think there is a constriction. One, our feet show us where we are spatially, and
Yes.
it teaches us, like as a child when they're learning it, stability.
Right. When a baby learns how to walk, we don't put shoes on them first. We let them
Mhm.
feel the sensory perception, feel the
Correct.
ground. What does that feel like when I'm trying to pull
Right.
myself up and trying to stand
Right.
and balance?
Exactly. And using every bit of that foot from the heel to the tip of the toes,
Yeah.
and all of that and pulling and it's healthy. It's healthy. And I do think that when we're depressed and when we're feeling down and when we're feeling confined,
Mm.
yeah, I
I mean, think about
cramping.
it. What is the thing that people do pretty much the first thing when they walk in the house? They take off their shoes immediately.
Mhm.
At least most normal people do.
Yeah, yeah, my
They
shoes come
kick,
off.
they kick off
Good.
anything that's restricting them. So
Mhm.
that's your shoes, your bra, whatever else.
Everything.
It all
That's
goes,
it. Just
because your body
that's
needs
it.
to breathe. Your body needs to
Mhm.
breathe.
That's exactly it. You're right. I mean, there's a ton of shoes at my front door.
Yeah,
Ton of shoes. Everybody knows. And it's not for like, you know, it, I mean, I realize, it's better for the carpet or I don't have carpet, but the cleanliness, you're not tracking
sure.
all that in. But what else are you not tracking in?
Yes, that's
What are
right.
you leaving at the front door?
Oh, because what people also don't realize is that the energy is alive. Okay.
Mhm.
Everything, we talked about this, everything that we have, we use, is alive. It may look like an inanimate object, but when you dig deep at the atom, formation and everything, it's alive.
Correct.
So we actually can gather and bring with us on our clothing bad energies.
Mhm.
And so if you're tracking that nonsense into your house on your shoes, guess what you've just let loose in your house? That's a
Hello.
whole, that's a whole nother subject, and we're not going to go there today.
Whole nother thing.
Oh my goodness.
It's true.
Oh my goodness. Wow. One more to go and we're done. Okay. Knee pain. The trapped emotion of stubbornness. Every time I read this, I go, "Eh," because obviously the RA in my body settled here first and then in my knees and my ankles. And so every time I read this stubbornness, I'm like, I'm not stubborn. Just that thought says, yeah, you are. Yeah, you probably are. You're probably more stubborn than you realize. But
Me
anyway,
too.
studies studies on knee pain indicate that it can be related to a huge array of different emotional issues, stubbornness being just one of them. But if you dig deeper to work out what's really going on in your subconscious, you just may find out that stubbornness may be a problem. Refusing to say someone else's, agreeing with somebody else's point of view just because you want to be right, or being unwilling to give up something because it's for the greater good, uh, or even holding on to something that's really not right for you just to prove a point. That's stubbornness, and why it lodges itself in our knees. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know that we need our knees, obviously, if we're going to be, once again, mobile. We need our knees. It, you know, I still have trouble kneeling. I can't actually like squat to kneel to do something. I can tell you a funny story. I was in Walmart and there was something on the lower shelf, and I wasn't thinking, and that day I wasn't really experiencing any pain. So my natural thing would be just to bend down and kneel down and get what I wanted. Well, I went to kneel, and halfway through the kneel, I realized, oh my goodness, my knees aren't doing what I need them to do. They're failing me. And all, all anybody could see was my knees hit the ground, and I lost my balance and I fell over. And I was like, oops, oops, here we go. I just pick myself up in a very baby way because my knees aren't bending properly. I can't just get up. I had to like be on my side and push myself up and stick my butt in the air and then kind of crawl my way. It was awkward.
Oh
Let's
my
just
gosh.
say that it was awkward, but it's happened to me a few times, and I realized that our knees are so vital to so much that we do. Our knees are our balance point. And if your knees are not working properly, there's no balance in your life. And when you feel that there's no balance in your life, as they say, yes, there are many emotions attached to that pain, but maybe one of the reasons why there's no balance in your life is because you're being stubborn and you're not allowing nature to take its course and show you where that balance is in your life or needs to be, because you are so afraid that if I change, it may not go right. well, then we need to change that stinking thinking anyway, but our knees are a balance point as far as I'm concerned. And the pain that we feel may be because we are afraid to change, and that change will lead us to become very stubborn and stuck in our ways. You know, and you've heard people say, "Oh, I can't change. I'm stuck in my ways. I've been doing this for 120 years." And then
It's
you ask
true.
them, "How are you feeling?" "Oh, my knees hurt. My elbows hurt. My back hurts." Really? So
True,
how's that serving you? Is that working for you? I don't think
right,
so.
it's true, it's true,
My goodness. Well,
yeah.
I think we have had an awesome jam-packed session. And I can't wait to get to tomorrow because not only are we going to finish up talking about the different issues, we are going to go through and work our modality. And we're going to once again teach the modality so that if you recognize that you are having any of these issues, you'll be able to throw in that emotion and remove that from your system. So, Teresa, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm excited about
Same
tomorrow.
here,
And I thank
same here.
everybody for being here. I really do. I know you took time out of your busy day to be here. So, I'm really grateful for that. And we will say goodbye. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.